This video is brought to you by the Deck of Many's Kickstarter ending tomorrow for animated spell cards, tarot cards, and more. Welcome back to the Gallant Goblin. I'm Grady, and today we're looking at the Unpainted Kraken from D&D's Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures line. This Kraken originally released as part of Wave 9 on August 14th, 2019, but it has renewed relevance today because of the release of D&D's newest setting sourcebook, Mythic Odysseys of Theros, which introduces a new mythic monster mechanic that's applicable to all settings. One of the example mythic monsters it provides is a new challenge rating 26 Kraken stat block. We'll talk about that in a bit. We want to thank WizKids for sending the Kraken to us ages ago. Sorry about the delay. To see what else we unboxed in the now very old package WizKids sent, you can click the eye in the corner of the screen. If you want to see what other minis are available in the Nolzur's line, past, present, future, check the link in the video description below, where you can also find timestamps for every major item we show or talk about in the video. Now, this Kraken was originally released as a pre-painted figure, and we'll show the unpainted and painted versions side by side, so you have a factory paint job as one example of how you could paint these minis. Though I've also seen very creative and gorgeous color schemes and paint jobs on Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, etc., which you can do a Google search for. The pre-painted Kraken was the premium set accompanying Monster Menagerie III, which was part of the Icons of the Realms line of figures sold in randomized booster packs. That released in March 2018. You can click the eye in the corner of the screen to see our reviews of both the pre-painted Kraken as well as Monster Menagerie III. And for Monster Menagerie, we show every unique sculpt in that set. You can also get a more detailed rundown of the lore behind the 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons Monster Manual Kraken in the review of the pre-painted version, but suffice it to say that meeting one is likely to ruin your day unless you happen to belong to a Kraken worshipping cult, in which case your day was probably ruined a long time ago. Those Krakens are challenge rating 23 creatures with a lair and legendary actions. They can make 3 tentacle attacks each round, and appropriately there are 3 unique tentacle sculpts in this set, and you get 2 of each. Krakens can also summon lightning storms or expel a cloud of ink underwater, which totally seem like equally powerful options. Krakens primarily appear in Storm King's Thunder and Lokatha Rising, although there are alternate stat blocks for Krakens like a juvenile or malformed Kraken, which show up in other adventures. As for Mythic Odysseys of Theros, it introduces new concepts for Krakens which you can use in the Theros setting or port back to the Forgotten Realms or the setting of your choice. In Theros, Krakens are locked within an area of several hundred square miles by ancient weapons embedded in the ocean floor known as sea locks. When an earthquake breaks a sea lock, the bound Kraken becomes free to rampage and is capable of destroying entire cities. These are the normal Monster Manual Krakens. As if that's not terrifying enough, Theros introduces a new type of Kraken called Nadir Krakens. Nadir Krakens are bigger, badder, and live in the deepest trenches of the sea. They're allowed to look and act like whatever terror your imagination can dream up, as long as they're higher than CR 23. They are considered unique creatures, and so don't share a stat block. The book does present one Nadir Kraken as a mythic monster, though. That Kraken is Tromokratus, and conveniently for us, it actually does look like a standard D&D Kraken. What to do? Tromokratus' stat block is actually pretty different from the Kraken's. He has a lot more resistances and lacks the Fling and Lightning Storm actions and the Ink Cloud legendary action. Instead, he just attacks a lot, with pincer, tail, tentacles, and bite. And what does mythic mean? Well, when you kill a mythic monster, it's an optional rule set to give the monster a second health bar. The exact mechanics are unique to each monster. In Tromokratus' case, killing him the first time around causes his carapace to crack, revealing 4 hearts. Tromokratus then comes back to life, gaining additional mythic actions he can use instead of legendary actions, though he also has access to his entire normal stat block. You have to kill all his hearts to put him down for good. The challenge rating for mythic monsters doesn't account for the mythic phase, since it's optional. Instead, using a mythic phase counts as fighting 2 monsters of that CR in a row. So in Tromokratus' case, killing his mythic form would count as having killed 2 CR 26 monsters, both from a difficulty perspective and an XP reward perspective. All in a day's work, right? Incidentally, if you are looking to start a Theros campaign, be sure to check out a supplement we released on dmsguild.com called The Grey Merchant of Asphodel, which contains over 100 new magic items themed specifically for Theros, though most could be used in other settings with a little adjustment. You can find a link to the product in the video description below. There's a Kraken tendril in it, named after a different famous Theros Kraken, but you could reappropriate it as a story hook for Tromo Kratos if you want. There's also a cursed item tied to one of the other mythic monsters in the book, Arasta of the Endless Web, a dryad who was cursed by the gods and transformed into an immortal, spider-like monstrosity. Back to our Kraken, however, one item of note is that in addition to the Kraken and the tentacles bursting out of the water, this set includes a treasure chest with a removable lid and a rowboat with paddles. The prepainted set had those, plus a pile of treasure with like a skeleton on it, and 2 sandbars, which were basically flat brown pieces of plastic. So it's not really a big loss that those are not included in the Unpainted release, but it's worth pointing out that there are differences between the two products. The other thing to note, of course, is that this Kraken is bursting out of the water, meaning you don't get the whole creature in one sculpt. That may be for the best, because look at that concept art. Krakens are weird and scary. You don't want that thing flopping around on your table like some oversized eldritch mud puppy. But it is a little unfortunate since it's possible to fight Krakens underwater, in which case this mini doesn't look quite right. To my knowledge, this is the only Kraken sculpt available in either the D&D or Pathfinder lines, though Pathfinder Battles does have a similar looking but smaller sculpt of Cthulhu bursting out of the water. Now Cthulhu as a nader Kraken. It's a bit of a downgrade for the ancient one, but if your table isn't into Lovecraft, you could probably get away with it. Since the standard D&D Kraken has a rather unique look, using other Kraken minis, such as the one from Reaper, is possible, but they will look more like giant squids than the monster manual design. The manufacturer's suggested retail price for this product is $34.99 US, and at the time of this recording in 2020, it's still available in some local stores and Amazon, but at a higher price point that's closer to the suggested retail price for the pre-painted version. It is not uncommon for Nolzur's products to sell out after the initial wave's release, and then if they're popular, for reprints to occur. So if you are unable to track this one down, they do periodically get re-released. Right now, the pre-painted version is actually available in WizKids' own web shop. You can see the link in the video description below, and it's actually at its original $50 price point, which is well below the $75 to $100 that it's reached on third-party sites like eBay. If all of this is confusing to you, the summary version is basically this. You'll often get big set piece figures like the Kraken as a pre-painted premium set accompanying a booster set release. WizKids will then release an unpainted version 6 months to 2 years down the road at a lower price point. In both cases, when the initial production run sells out, they become hard to track down and prices get high on the resale market. But if you wait long enough, WizKids these days tries to reprint minis that become really hard to track down, at which point the price drops back to the retail price and the cycle goes on and on. Now, if you want other products to really impress your table once we can all see each other again, you have 24 hours left to jump on the Deck of Many's Kickstarter for animated reference cards. These are cards where the art moves when you tilt it with 8 frames of animation. You can get just the new spell cards covering all the Open Gaming License 5th edition D&D spells from levels 6 to 9. Or if you haven't picked up the levels 1 to 5 cards that were kickstarted previously, there's a tier to get those too. They also have a full animated deck of tarot cards, plus animated condition cards, Humblewood spell cards, NPC cards, and a final stretch goal of illusion cards that can summon an illusory copy of the beautiful watercolor monsters depicted on the card. And the cards are waterproof, so you can play D&D in the pool and really put your Kraken miniature to use as the gods intended. Find out more and back the Kickstarter now at animatedspells.com. Again, I want to thank WizKids for sending us this unpainted set. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy our content and find our reviews helpful, subscribing to the channel is the best way to help us keep putting out more videos. You can leave us a comment also telling us what else you'd like to see from us. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you next time at the Gallant Goblin.